if you're diversified in today's market, you got some tech, you got some minerals, and you may be losing a little bit, but you're so spread out, you really minimize your risk.
Right.
And that's the game of money. It's not how much money can you make, it's how do you prevent yourself from losing money.
Welcome to Innovate or Evaporate, the podcast where we explore the relentless pace of change and the innovators who drive it. Each episode, we dive deep into cutting-edge ideas, breakthrough technologies, and the fearless pioneers reshaping our world. Today, we're joined by Gerry Hays, the founder and CEO of Doriot, a fintech startup reimagining how early-stage investing works. In this conversation, we dig into the birth of venture staking, what it means to democratize access to startup equity, and how poker, pedagogy, and purpose all play a role. If you're ready to be inspired, challenged, and equipped to navigate the future, stay tuned, because it's Innovate or Evaporate.
When does Lincoln graduate? All right, good to go? Okay. Quiet on the set, please. All right. Welcome back to Innovate or Evaporate. I'm your host, Toph Day. We are joined by Gerry Hays, the founder and CEO of Doriot, a company focused on democratizing access to startup investing through education and innovative financial models like venture staking. That sounds interesting. He's a seasoned entrepreneur with 5 ventures under his belt, multiple exits, and a passionate educator, having taught entrepreneurial finance and venture capital at the IU Kelley School of Business. Gerry is also the author of the First Time Founders Equity Bible and the curriculum for Qualified Accredited Investors, or QAI as he calls it. I love that. He is deeply inspired by George Doriot, the pioneer of venture capital, and is driven to carry forward that innovative spirit into the modern age of startup investment. Gerry, welcome to Innovate or Evaporate. This is going to be a wild ride.
Thanks, Toph. Glad to be here.
I'm so stoked. So I paused on that. I made the dramatic, venture staking kind of slow speak there. But we're going to have the listeners wait just for a little bit about venture staking, which could be really disruptive, right, in the world of venture and venture capital. And you have had a long journey thinking about this. I know this, right, from all of our conversations going back many, many years. So let's go backwards a little bit and talk about your first foray into entrepreneurship and your first exposure to venture capital. What did that look like for you? Was it through work? Was it through teaching? Was it through a student starting a company? What was it?
Well, I had a painting company, I think you did, in college.
Pick up that paintbrush.
Yeah, and so I went out and found houses to paint and then hired college kids to paint them and did that. And so I kind of always knew that I wanted to go out and hustle and build a business. But then I left IU and I got a job or a fellowship at the governor's office, the Buy administration. And then I worked in state government, became the lobbyist for the Department of Environmental Management, and then I crossed over into the Indiana Chamber of Commerce. So my first 6 years out of school were in government affairs kind of thing. And so my first actual venture capital event happened when I was at the chamber, and there was a member who was building a hazardous waste processing facility, and I thought I knew, this is going to be huge. And so I took my entire life savings of $25K at the time and put it all into the company.
Love it.
And 6 months later, gone.
That's the evaporate part of Innovate or Evaporate.
He evaporated really quickly. So I had to, recover from that a little bit. But then in 1998, I passed the bar, went to law school in the evenings, passed the bar, and decided I really wanted to, start another company in the internet space because this is all booming and happening and was super exciting. And
you said this is 99?
1998, 1999.
Yes, it was right when it was all getting ready to happen. It was
all getting ready to happen. And I was actually, when I passed the bar, I didn't go to one of the big firms. I had offers, but I wanted to go to a small business practice and just get in and just see what it was like and decide whether I really wanted to practice law. One of the things I was doing with them was they had a company who was trying to expand their facility, and I was going out trying to buy houses for them so they could expand. And I realized this real estate transaction is so simple. Like, this is not complicated at all. And I just thought, well, gosh, if we could just take the internet and create buyers and sellers and then handle these transactions in a centralized clearinghouse, there could be something here. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. And I knew that the big problem was going to be there needed to be lawn signs out there, right? Like houses. And there's this company in Indianapolis called IndyFisbo.com. And they had, I don't know, maybe like 35 houses that were listed on their internet site for sale by owner. And I just walked into their offices and said, hey, I'd like to buy your company. And here's what I want to do with it. And there's a little bit of negotiation there because, Yahoo was going crazy valuation-wise. So we got that worked out. Flipped it over to homia.com and then sent out an email and said, hey, you're just not listing your house anymore. We'll do the transaction for you for like $600. And then we put up billboards all over Indianapolis, the arrival of online real estate. And we just completely blew up overnight. And I think fast forward 6 months later, and we're doing like 50, 60,000 in revenue each month, not taking a real estate commission.
Right.
So, and that was about that time where, okay, let's go raise some venture capital and take this all out, across the country. And the feedback I got from the VCs was, oh, we're going to pass. We can't imagine not using a real estate agent to sell a house or buy a house. And just like, well, you're not my customer.
Right.
I've got buyers and sellers who want to invest in this. But I couldn't get...
And a bunch who are doing it right now.
Yeah. And I just could not get, VCs to look at this and like, boy, this is really frustrating. And I just sort of put it in the back of my head. I said, one of these days I'm going to solve for this problem, some way, shape or form. If there's people like me that aren't getting funded, there must be a lot of people out there who are deserving getting a start, but they're not getting their start.
Yep.
And so fast forward, 9/11 hit,
Real quick.
Yeah.
Before you go forward, I was a customer of homia.com.
You were?
I was.
Okay.
I had a condo.
Okay.
I sold my condo and so I was a customer, by the way.
Yeah. And you got to keep all the equity.
Yeah.
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 That was the whole game. Right.
That's awesome. I didn't realize all that. I just had to share that.
Yeah.
I was
awesome.
one of your $50,000.
Yeah. Awesome. And, but we ended up selling in 2003 to help you sell real estate. It was just, couldn't raise capital. 9/11 hits. It was just, I expanded into Columbus, Ohio and Orlando, Florida on a bank loan that I was tied to personally. I pushed it all in and like, okay, this is the second time now in like 6 years I'm starting over financially.
Yep.
So yeah, that's where I got my start as an entrepreneur.
So then, all right, so Homeow's done.
Mm-hmm.
And when did you start teaching about entrepreneurship and venture capital?
2004, right after I sold Homeow.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so how'd you get into that? Did you just say, hey, I want to be a professor and interview or apply to an opening, or did you actually proactively go seek that out?
So it actually just came to me. It was Professor David Haberly was at the Kelley school, and they were trying to get this new curriculum off the ground. And he had a lot of interest in Homeow, but his fund was tied to a whole other thing. It was just complicated, but he and I had built a relationship, and he thought I would be a good fit to come down and teach. So went down, I taught one class. They invited me to teach two. And then fast forward a couple of years, and they've asked me to come on full time and do it in what is a part-time capacity for me. And so I've been there ever since. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. How many students do you think have passed through your classrooms?
About 6,000.
6,000.
Yeah.
You ever think about the ripple effect of that? How many lives you've touched?
It's of a magnitude I cannot understand, but I have made a difference in a lot of people's lives.
Are there any stories that come out of those students that we would recognize today? Anything coming to the top of mind of, because no doubt a lot of those students went on and started businesses.
Oh yeah. I can safely say this, I think, but Derek Paquet, he was on Shark Tank. He was a former student. He was in town this week. So we went out and had a beer, and his business is booming. Like he just landed Disney for
That's
his.
awesome.
And so like when I told him to pass on Mark Cuban's offer, I feel vindicated.
So you were the one behind that?
Yeah. I was on the show. I said, I wouldn't take that deal, man. You got too much of an opportunity here.
Right.
So to give him 35%, but now I feel vindicated because he didn't take that offer, and he's held on to his company, and he's crushing it.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I love that. I think the things that you guys are doing down at IU are amazing, right? And trying to push entrepreneurship. And there's also various groups down there, right? You have Paragraph now, or I'm forgetting it now. Back in the day, Brad Mike's
Sproutbox.
Sproutbox, and then you got the Mill and the Forge, and so just like marrying that talent with opportunity, I think is really so special.
Yeah, what's interesting is that, getting started in the startup community here in Indianapolis, go back to 1999, it wasn't a whole lot going on.
Right.
You were there. I mean, there just wasn't a whole lot.
Yep.
Bloomington, when I got down there in 2017, there's some going on, but to your point, it was essentially, Mike and Brad trying to like build this dimension mill up, and that all started coming together. It's just you're seeing the momentum down there now, and I think if there's one problem we can solve for in Bloomington that will completely reshape that ecosystem, is how to keep young people aged 24 to 35 in Bloomington working.
Yep.
I think we solve that problem, it's going to be could be like literally like another Boulder, Colorado.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Jean Martin down there, right? With Village Partners. I think it was her. It's a venture capital fund, or maybe it was SPVs, but like she's well known, right, around the circles. So, okay, so we advance forward now. So you're preaching the gospel of entrepreneurship and venture capital, and opening the eyes to many students, right, about just going for it.
Yep.
Taking the exciting ride, taking the plunge. And so you start to get, you start doing some research. And I'm not sure when you started this, but George Doriot, the father of venture capital. So talk about that. When did you kind of start thinking about Doriot and how he thought about venture capital and how that applies to venture capital today?
Yeah. So when I was starting to teach, obviously my history, I want to look at the history of the sector I'm teaching in. George Doriot sort of invented this game. His model that he came out with is still being used today. So I, would teach a little bit about the history of venture capital. And then I read his 2 books and just got really enthralled with this individual. He's just a remarkable individual. And so between 2004 and 2017, I also was a fried chicken salesman. So I was
seasoning,
selling fried chicken. So I learned how to go.
In fact, there's probably listeners that used to buy that product.
Yeah, Charlie Biggs. Yeah.
Charlie Biggs.
Yeah. I would sell fried chicken programs to like grocers in the Deep South. I mean, it took me 2 years to make my first sale, to give you an idea of how maybe bad of a salesman I was, or how long it takes to actually get a sale. But that went really well, and I was able to recap out my side of the business, so I could focus on coming to Bloomington and focus on this. Okay, what do I really want to spend the rest of my time in my career doing? And it was taking a look at this venture space. And at that point in time, the SEC had just promulgated rules that opened up regulation crowdfunding, and that was pursuant to the 2013 Jobs Act. So now there's this opening up of non-accredited investors, but participating in the marketplace. And so,
can we pause there real quick?
Yeah.
So for the listeners that maybe aren't familiar with crowdfunding, can you just kind of just paint that picture, high level, of what that means?
Yeah.
And a couple of the big players out there.
I'll tell you what it actually means away from the crowdfunding. Traditionally, with the SEC, if you're going to raise a round of capital, you have to file paperwork with the SEC.
Yep.
Either you got to register it as a security, or you have to have some sort of exemption that says, like, I don't need to register. Here's my exemption, and that's through Regulation D.
Yep.
And Regulation D says, hey, if you're going to raise your money for millionaires, minimal information, we don't care. We trust that the millionaires are going to be smart with their money. We don't have to protect anyone. So that's the minimal filing that most people do. Crowdfunding is essentially filing not a Form D, a Form C that basically gives more information, like, A, I'm not a felon. How's that? Or B, I will do an annual update. I will provide financials, right? I'll give you more information. All goes on Edgar. And for that, or in exchange for giving more information, you could raise money from non-millionaires, but you have to raise it through a regulated platform like WeFunder or Start Engine or Republic. There's private label platforms, but it all has to be routed through a regulated platform. And that's the difference. But today, as I sit here, you could go raise $5 million from, non-millionaires to launch a business. The problem is no one in the retail business understands this game of venture So they don't think to go, well, I'm just going to go start building a portfolio on WeFunder or whatever. Right. There's a whole education process that has to happen. And that's how I started. Well, I built Fantasy Startup, which is a downloadable app. We've had 13,000 people across the globe play it, but I give you 50 real startups and I give you $500. Like, okay, here's your pitches. Would you invest? And then I'll show you how you did.
Can I go use that today?
Yes, you can.
Where do I go download that?
Just go to Doriot University or DoriotU.com or just type in fantasystartup.com. It's there.
Yep.
And you can test your own instincts as how good of an investor you are. The interesting thing we found out about that, because we collected like 1.5 million data points, we know how people make their decisions.
Yes.
We're starting to see what biases.
Fascinating.
Right? And if you give people the right amount of information and they're working with some dollar amounts that they're fine with,
yes,
they'll make a decision within like 35 seconds. So that's the game, right? To speed this up, to make it TikTokable, right? You got to give them a game with the relevant information, and they're playing with money that they can afford to lose, and they're not worried about it.
Yep.
And now you get them into this game.
Yep.
And so that was, what I was seeing happening on the app. Now the question is, how do you make that happen in the real world?
Right.
Well, I had to go through the bowels of the Reg CF market. I made 75 investments in all these companies, and I wanted to see how they were acting and how the founders were responding, and just to learn everything about this industry. And I just realized there's a major issue or a misconception that was being brought upon the retail investors. That is, you can't take the George Doriot traditional model of venture and then just pile it on a WeFunder or a Republic and give it to retail investors and think they're going to do it. It's too hard. It's not a winnable game. In traditional venture, you got a boatload of money, you got massive connections, you have hours and hours and hours that you're putting into diligence to come up with a decision. Retail investors don't have that, right? So you're not going to give them very complex businesses. The way to get retails in this game is that you get them at the very beginning when you're looking at the whites of an eye of an entrepreneur. Like, do you really want to be in this business?
Right.
If you do, I'll put some money behind you.
Right.
Right. And if you're winning,
grit,
guess what?
Perseverance.
Yeah,
like
if you're winning,
slug this out.
Yeah, you're winning, I'll put more money behind you. How's that?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to give you everything today.
Right.
Give you a little bit today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
See what you're worth.
Yeah.
And that's a game I think millions of retail investors will play.
Yeah.
Right? In a way that they can afford. But if you do 50 of those deals, you're going to find like 3 or 4 that are winning. And then you put your money there. It is a way more efficient way of investing in startups than just spraying and praying and not really knowing what you're doing.
So you discovered a formula, I believe, and I'll use the word formula. If you're not remember who I'm talking about, I'm going to cue you here in a second. So we all had heard the story back to the hazardous waste business, and somebody saved up some money, 25, 50, 100 grand, couple $100,000, and they want to get into the angel investing business. And so they've just seen the best thing since sliced bread. And it's Google meets Yahoo meets TikTok meets, whatever. Think of any brand name you can think of. And the thing is going on 6 months.
Yeah.
And they lost it all on 1 or 2 bets.
Called the fool's tax.
The fool's tax?
Yeah.
So
the fool's tax.
The fool's tax. So I'd never heard that before. The fool's tax. Okay. We run with that. So I think you had, through all this research and these observations and lived experiences, it was something like 100. Like if you're an angel investor, you need to be able to afford with however you're going to invest on at least 100.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right? At least 100 deals over a certain time period.
Yeah. Monte Carlo simulations will tell you that anywhere between 50 and 100 is what you need to have, right? To bring your risk of loss to zero.
Yes.
Like risk that you will not lose
like power law too, right?
Exactly. You won't lose your money if you have enough diversification.
Yes.
Just like if you're diversified in today's market, you got some tech, you got some minerals, and you may be losing a little bit, but you're so spread out, you've really minimized your risk.
Right.
And that's the game of money. It's not how much money can you make, it's how do you prevent yourself from losing money?
Yes.
That's how you win in wealth building. And
then have enough dry powder to put some more money into those ones that are winning.
Exactly. think about it, playing Texas Hold'em poker, right?
Yep.
You pay a little bit of money to get your ante, you get your cards, right? You don't bet until you see cards.
Yeah.
But when you start seeing the flop, then you're like, I like this. I may not win, but I'm in, right? And otherwise, you're gonna you see the cards, and you're like, I'm out. I'm not gonna bet it. That's all we're bringing to venture is this model of Texas Hold'em for startup investing.
So then you wrote a curriculum,
Mm-hmm.
a test.
Yeah.
And I kind of equate it to the, Series 63 and 7, 24, all the various tests that, like a registered investment advisor or someone, takes these tests to be in that business. So how did you come up with the idea then to go ahead and write a test, Qualified Accredited Investor? How did that come about?
Well, so the SEC promulgated a rule called the Accredited Investor Modernization rule back in 2020. And they had very specifically expanded the definition of an accredited investor to someone just beyond who makes $200,000 a year, or they've got $1 million of assets net of their home, to if you have a Series 82 or Series 7 license, you are automatically an accredited investor. If you work for a venture firm, we'll designate you as an accredited investor. And then they also had in there, hey, and if anyone wants to bring a curriculum to us for us to review, to approve, to certify people as accredited, please do so.
Interesting. And what year was this?
This is in 2020.
2020.
Yeah. So I did it.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Let's do it. I mean, how do we expand? The best way to expand and protect investors is educate them and make sure that they can pass, if you can pass a 100-question exam on 14 levels of venture, from how to do evaluation, how the equity stack works, revenue modeling. Yeah, you should.
Which gets quite complex.
Yes, you should be allowed to invest in whatever you want to invest in.
Yeah.
If you can pass that exam, no problem, right? But still, it's sitting with the SEC still. I have not heard back. But, it's a federal agency and a lot of bureaucracy, and they're trying to figure out their whole world now with crypto and what's a security, not a security. It's really kind of it's an interesting time right now to be in sort of the securities world.
So that you launched a company called Doriot, and
with the permission of the family.
With permission of the family, that is awesome. How'd that conversation go? How hard was it to track them down?
Crazy enough, Toph, I asked the universe, and next thing you know, I'm on a call with Roger Doriot.
That is awesome.
Yeah, literally.
So you put it out there.
There. Said, hey. I did not take any direct step towards it, but I had a conversation with a guy, a former student in Hong Kong, who knew someone that all of a sudden came around, that we were having a conversation 3 months later.
The old 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, and we just worked out a deal.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is so awesome. Actually, so you launched Doriot, and now is QAI through Doriot, or is that separate?
It is part of the umbrella.
So you have an umbrella, so kind of a holding company.
So you can think about it. We have Doriot University, encompassing of 3 products.
Yep.
Fantasy Startup, QAI, in the venture game, which we haven't broadly commercialized yet, but that makes up, it's probably the best venture curriculum in the world, because 2 of them are games. One of them is a really rigorous exam.
Yep.
You can go through this and you are going to be at the elite level of venture, right? So you have that. And now we have what's called the...
And we had everybody here take that test as well.
Yes. Yeah. And did very well.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And then on this side, we have Doriot Arena, the arena for where you learn here, you play here.
Yep.
And that's what we're developing right now, is the arena.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So all these experiences, all this research, all of this teaching, all of these learnings over 30 years lead you to today, where we sit right now at this very moment. And you just made a big announcement about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, around venture staking.
Yeah.
And you think there is there's a different way to think about venture capital, and you've come with this idea of venture staking, that your plan is to proliferate that, right?
Yep.
Which is very interesting. So can we talk about that?
Yes.
What is venture staking?
Well, it's all based on this one truism in venture: the right to invest in a startup in the future that's winning. That right is more valuable than investing in an unproven startup today, right?
Yep.
If you have an ability to step up and keep backing the horses that are winning, and then not back the horses that aren't, that's how you're going to make a lot of money in venture. There's been no way to codify that, but a venture stake does. So what you have is this is a two-sided problem, or a marketplace. You have founders who want to come in and go raise money to get their business started, R&D, right? Is there a business opportunity here. Most angels and VCs won't touch it. They go to family and friends. Highly toxic, right? Because if you lose their money, you got to deal with your family. So there's a $60 billion toxic funding mechanism called family and friends funding that we want to get rid of, right? Replace that with a professional round called venture staking. So they come and they can raise, 150, 200K. It's non-dilutive equity. It's like a grant to them. Shows up as revenue. The only trade-off is they are selling rights to invest in each of their future rounds. So it's a rights round. So someone on the investing side could buy a venture stake for $10 for the right to invest $100 in each of their subsequent rounds. You could buy a venture stake for $1,000 and have a right to put 10K into each of the subsequent rounds. So small VCs could get into this game, right? And what you're doing is you're taking advantage of the wisdom of the crowd and momentum to see which founders are coming to the arena are getting, there's a lot of momentum behind them and you want to get a stake into them, right? So it's a prediction market for founders. And it's all based on, let's all agree to come together, put a little risk on the table, but we're all going to share in the upside. If this company's winning, you're not going to, no VC come in here and just gobble it all up and recap out and take earlier investors out like they can do today. It flips the script and puts the power in the smallest investor as the largest investor, all because they took the risk first. And that's what we should be rewarding in this society.
That's fascinating. So let me repeat that back. Make sure I get this straight. So, and by the way, Wayne Gretzky, skate to where the puck's going.
Yes.
You're also hitting the market where democratization of how we build a business is very different.
Mm-hmm.
So we can do it, we could literally stand up, we could be in business over a weekend and testing that prototype out with people to buy it. So, but maybe I need a little bit of money to, whatever, have a little storage space or something.
Ideate.
Whatever, ideate, whatever. And so I can get pretty far with 20, 30, 40, 50 grand.
Yeah.
Right. So I sign up, I go to, where would I go to find this?
You go to Doriot.com.
So I go to Doriot.com and then there's a place where I go to do venture staking.
Yeah. So the arena's not live yet because we just revealed it. Okay. So what we're doing is raising a venture staking round for us.
Yep.
So we're eating our own dog food.
Yep.
So anyone could buy literally a venture stake in us. If you think this is a great idea, you think this is the future of venture, you get to buy a right to invest in our future.
For as little as how much?
$10.
So for $10.
For $10.
So somebody could buy a venture stake in Doriot for $10 or $10,000.
Or $1,000 or 10 to 1,000.
10 to 1,000.
And you 10x your investment capacity.
Yep. And then so I venture stake $10 into Doriot.
Yep.
And that gives me a right to invest in future rounds. And those dollars are put into the company in the form of a grant, which shows up as revenue.
Yep.
So I don't own a stake yet.
That's right.
I just have a right to invest later.
A right on the blockchain.
Yeah.
And then so whenever let's say we open up a round in July this year.
Yep.
And we got a lead investor. It's like, okay, we're doing a $3.5 million round. Huge demand for what we're doing, but all the venture stakers, here's the deal terms. You get into the same deals. Here's your shot. You want in or not?
Right.
And then we just file a Form C and they get in and they get at the same deals as the VCs.
Fascinating.
Right? And now they're in. Now they own equity. Fairly priced, objectively priced by the market.
Yeah. Well, we talked, I think we talked about this years ago. So anybody right now could go download a gambling app and I could bet on, I don't know if there's NBA playoffs tonight, but I could place a $10 bet on a game tonight with no knowledge of basketball. I could go do that. And you think about access for wealth building. I think this is really fascinating because we need to, as a society, right, widen that aperture to give more people a shot to get in the game, right, and not have to be at some arbitrary number, right, from an accreditation standpoint. So this could have major impact on. Remember we talked about $1 Millionaires?
Yeah,
a long time ago.
Yeah.
This could do that.
Yeah.
This could accomplish that.
Yeah, it can. I mean, this is, of course, I'm speaking from my experience of what I've seen, but not only have we not only does this reduce the amount of money you need to get into the game, but it's an actual winnable game.
Yes.
That's the difference. Taking the traditional model and giving it to retailers, it's not a winnable game, but this is a winnable game. And we're not talking about turning $10 into $100. We're talking, you get into a deal, you put $100 in, turning that $100 into $10,000 or $25,000, right? You're trying to get after these really hyper, growth opportunities. And with AI and where this is all going, we're seeing companies go from zero to billion-dollar valuations in 24 months, if less, right? Yeah. And we're on the precipice of a major revolution of the application of AI to everyday businesses. And there's going to be lots of consolidation. There's going to be a lot of operators who are going to want to start companies. This is going to be the golden age of financing of entrepreneurs with all this technology. And it's really a shame if 99% of the people sit in the bleachers and watch the 1% make all the money.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you're seeing a massive shift in the platinum tier one venture capital firms that we all know, that, the Sequoias, and I saw Lightspeed last week.
Yeah.
They're literally, they're filing now to become RIAs, and they're looking at, they're in essence really turning venture into private equity and looking for these platform plays. And so how they invest money is shifting rapidly.
Yeah.
Right. And so they're on this other end of the market, right? But there's been no really massive disruption on the entry point to the market, which is where you're focusing your time on.
Yeah. If I'm disrupting anything, it's family and friends financing, which is a $60 billion market.
$60 billion.
$60 billion annually.
Is that globally or U.S.?
Just U.S.
Yeah, just U.S.
Yeah. And
that's massive. And family and friends investing in the U.S. is $60 billion.
Yeah. And if you could be the entry point, if venture staking could be the entry point to get entrepreneurs funded, and now they've built a community of 2,000 or 3,000 people backing them, you've got a community, the product is going to get built easily because of technology, right? But it's going to be ideas, people, communities. This is the future of entrepreneurship. So you are pairing entrepreneurs with a community right out of the get-go that has firepower to keep them going in the future.
Yeah.
There could be a venture staking, the arenas, there could be, you could have a venture staking arena within their own alumni base, right? Every university should have this. Every local community should be able to venture stake their own entrepreneurs within their own community, right? We can make, distribution of capital local and decentralized in such a way that now you can be intentional even within your own communities to drive innovation.
Yep. So this is a double-sided market, right?
Yeah.
So you have the companies and then the venture stakers. Do you have a name for the venture stakers yet?
Venture stakers for now.
For now. Stakers. So how are you out recruiting the either entrepreneurs or someone who's getting ready to launch an idea? How are you recruiting those? And then on the other side, letting people know, hey, this new product exists.
Yep.
To start watching for those.
So it is the cart, horse, or chicken egg issue. We are proving right now that people are buying venture stakes at us. And people are coming to the website. 10% of the people who come to our website, we close just because they see what we're doing and they buy. So we feel really
That's a pretty good ratio there.
It's great.
10%?
We're super grateful.
In a B2B business, you could be at 3-5%, right?
Yeah. I have a great storytellers, great designers. It took a lot to get there, but it's so simple and it's great. So we feel confident that with the appropriate resources, we're going to be able to build a venture staking community, like the marketplace is coming. Here's how we're going to build it. We're going to get you verified. It's going to be a very, very sophisticated process, simple process, but we'll be able to build that while we're building the marketplace. In terms of the founders, we are going to take a playbook from the Thiel Fellowship. So Peter Thiel has his commentary like, don't go to school. We'll give you $100,000. Go figure something out. And from that, Ethereum came, Figma came, and by success ratios, the Thiel Fellowship has produced more billion-dollar companies than any other venture model, including Y Combinator.
Hang on. Say it again.
The Thiel Fellowship has minted more unicorn companies per capita than any other venture model, including Y Combinator.
That's amazing.
Right. And all it was like someone super ambitious, super bold, give them a little bit of money and some runway to go figure something out, and then they come and figure something out.
Do you know what the age group, out of curiosity?
It is all 18 to 22. right? But I don't think we would be limiting to that.
Right.
We're going to, someone could be 35.
It might be 10.
Yeah. It doesn't make a difference to us, right? They just have to pass our due diligence and they're serious and all that good stuff. But I think we're going to get 25,000 applications of people like, hell yes, I'll go raise a venture staking round. I'll go figure out a way to, it's like becoming a search fund for entrepreneurship.
Yep.
Right? I give myself 6-8 months to go figure something out, or maybe I have an idea, but now I can get the R&D capital and I could take this risk. I mean, I think we can unlock a massive amount of entrepreneurship. So I don't think there's going to be, I think once we're ready to go, I think we're going to have plenty of market for both sides.
That's fascinating. Yeah. So how long are you going to leave? So you're open right now. So somebody could go there right now and do $10 to $1,000.
Yep.
And is it increments of 10, 100, 1,000, or is it
10, 25, 100, 250, 500, and 1,000? So if you're an angel, low risk, medium risk, high risk. If you're a beginner, low risk, medium, high risk.
So this is set up as like really easy to manage building blocks.
Yes.
In essence, right?
Yes.
So actually, people can go in there right now and buy a venture stake in Doriot today.
Yeah. You're literally making your first investment in a startup. Like most of our venture stakers have never made an investment in a startup, right? This is going to get you in a game that you never imagined you'd be in. And trust me, this is a game that you want to be in because what's happening on the other side that I can't really talk about. It's hard. More and more people around the world are coming. It's amazing what's coming our way. This is going to be a huge, huge enterprise.
That's exciting. That's exciting. How many people do you have on your team today?
7.
7 people?
Yeah.
And you've been working on this for 5 years?
7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
What I think is fascinating is, the word pivot.
Yeah.
A lot of times people take the word pivot as a negative word. And I never thought of pivot as a negative word. I think it's a very positive word, right? Because with any company, I wish I could remember the exact backstory on like Instagram, for example.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, what we know of as Instagram when it originally started.
Or Twitter was Odeo before that and became Twitter.
Yeah. It's like every headline has a backstory.
Yeah.
Right. Pretty much. And so what I love is that you've been looking and thinking about and experimenting with multiple things. Some of those things are still products.
Yeah.
Very valuable products. Yeah. Right. Like the QAI.
Yeah.
Very valuable product. The fantasy startup.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Has a very real place in all of this.
Yeah.
And what I think is beautiful is it's like when you launch the company and some of those initial ideas are how you're going to enter the market, that some of those still exist today and have become very important building blocks or underpinnings to help round out the education and the wherewithal and the knowledge base of all the folks who might be flooding in to play this game. Yeah.
Yeah. And it'll work on it's folks will get drawn in to play the game, but then they want to become an entrepreneur, go to Doriot University, get a proper education around this, right? I stand behind this education. I've been working on it for 20 years, right? Yep. But it will just be like this massive flywheel, right?
So if I'm a 16-year-old high school student, and I'm going to build the next Ethereum, do I have to be 18 to qualify?
Yes.
Okay. So I do have to be 18 years old to be on the platform.
Yeah. So mom and dad will have to buy one for you.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And then they can just flip it over later, right? Yeah. When the founder or co-founders become of age. Fascinating. So where do you think this all goes?
Well, I think we're going to have a successful launch of a marketplace next year. I think it's going to blow people's minds. Between now and then, we got a lot of work to do, right? There's a lot of legal work, and we're inventing an industry.
Yes.
Out of Indiana. We're talking innovation here, right?
Innovation capital of the world.
Innovation capital of the world. We're innovating on the one seemingly untouchable market that's owned by Silicon Valley, venture capital, but yet we can completely fork venture into 2 different strategies altogether out of Indiana. Right. So this is a story that, it's near and dear to my heart because I'm a Hoosier, man. I love it. I've spent most of my life teaching at IU Kelley, and all my degrees are at IU. And right. I want to see, and I love Indiana. I want to see Indiana thrive. This is a vehicle that is, can really.
I think you have a lot of things come down to timing.
Yeah.
And you have 2 major headwinds or tailwinds, two major tailwinds at your back. One is just the last 9 months, like literally the last 9 months, the proliferation of these AI tools, and modernized tech stacks, et cetera, think about what's happening the last 9 months, and now just the next 9 months.
Yep.
Right? This isn't years.
Mm.
This is every week.
Yep.
We're seeing major changes. So you have that.
Yep.
And then that's also then forcing venture capital historically, as we knew it, is changing.
Yeah.
Right. The days of placing those massive bets and hoping that 1 out of 20 hits.
Yep.
Those days are
raising really big funds so you can get the management fees.
Right. Those
you
days
just
are over.
don't need to deploy that kind of capital anymore.
That's right.
This is all about speed and adoption.
Yeah.
And, there's no better way to gain traction than
like
through
water
communities.
bugs. It's like water bugs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Venture staking enables those water bugs. I love it. Okay. Well, this is going to be an exciting ride to watch. When you first called and said you had landed on this, I remember I hung up the phone and I'm like, that's interesting. That's fascinating. I'm 100% rooting for you. This is awesome.
Appreciate that.
Well, we have come to towards the end of the official podcast session, and we're going to go into some rapid fire questions. Okay. Does that sound good?
Yeah, let's
now. There's no right or wrong answer.
All right.
And it could be about Doriot, or it could be about QAI, or none of the above.
Okay.
So we have about 4 questions we'd like to fire through and just get the off the cuff, raw version of all of our guests. So the first one is, what is one thing in your industry that you think people should stop doing? One thing in your industry that you think people should stop doing?
Looking external to what everyone else is doing. Flip that around and start going internal. Start developing your own mindset, develop your own plan, and focus on that.
That's deep.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. What is one thing, a process or a habit, that you think leads to the best ability to disrupt or innovate?
Curiosity. Got to be really super curious, and you can't poo-poo or discount anything. All of it matters. And just to be really super curious as to why things are happening a certain way, why decisions are being made, or why is this behavior happening? That coupled with patience, it's a good recipe.
When you say that, I love that. When you say that, it makes me think of be a yes and person.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Not a no but.
Yes. Yes and.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes and goes this way, no
That's
but
right.
goes that way.
That's right.
That's awesome. If you could solve one problem in the world with innovation, what would that be?
It would be to allow people to have an ability to build wealth with purpose and not tied to traditional jobs that are going away. A whole new economy around ownership and around aligning purpose and being in the energy of like all sorts of cool stuff getting built out there. But building wealth, like you can literally build a lifestyle of wealth by owning in the dreams of others.
And then all the amazing things you can go do with that, right?
Right.
To impact the world in a positive way.
Yeah.
That's powerful. What's something we haven't talked about today? Something that you're passionate about? Anything that we haven't covered today that you wished I would have asked you? Like, oh man, when we shut those cameras off, like, I don't want there to be this, we didn't cover that thing.
No, man, you've covered everything. I will just leave at least the one thing, you've got the wisdom, you've been in the battles. We're both of the same age, right? The one thing I really would love to impart on, everyone is entrepreneurship and innovation is everyone needs to see themselves in this vein. Everyone has the capacity to be an innovator or an entrepreneur. Don't say you're not capable of it or close yourself off to this. This is the future. This is our future. And we need every Hoosier young person thinking in the eyes of entrepreneurship and innovation. That's why I love you saying, hey, you know what? We are the innovation capital of the world. You know what? Take someone to say it. And you know what? I'm here. I'm doing my part. I'm innovating, right? And that's what we need every Hoosier thinking about. How do we constantly innovate and grow?
I love that. So one thing that when you talk with folks who are not investors or entrepreneurs, they might be policymakers, they might be educators, right, or philanthropic folks in the philanthropic industry. they don't view themselves as innovators,
But they should.
and they should,
Yeah.
and they are.
Yeah.
Right. You think about how do we disrupt education to better serve the student? How do we create individual learning journeys? How do we create good private public policy, right, to enable innovation to take root?
Yeah.
Corporate leaders, all this stuff, and I think it's so powerful. It's like mindset,
Yes.
right? And it's a yes and you can too, and
Yep.
and just a mindset of going for it, right?
And
Whatever we're doing.
Yeah, Toph, human innovation needs to move at the speed of AI intelligence. We have to constantly innovate as humans.
Yeah.
That's our game.
Yep.
We got to start playing it.
Well, so we could talk about this for another hour, but like I also think about humans need to innovate. So true. Agricultural revolution, right, lasted centuries.
Yeah.
Centuries. And then the Industrial Revolution lasts decades. And then the digital revolution is years. And now this AI revolution, or I don't know if that's what we're going to call it yet, but let's just call it the AI revolution for now. We're talking about like every hour. I mean, literally, it's just become that. And then new products and tools seemingly every week. Remember the old MarTech? I don't know if you remember the old, what they call Lumascapes. And there are these MarTech, all the marketing tech available out there.
Yeah.
And it was like 5, 10, 100, 500, grew to like 8,000.
Yep.
And you can't even see the logos on this sheet because there's so
Yeah.
many of them, like 8,000 MarTech tools to choose from. We're already there for AI tools.
Yep.
That happened over 20 years.
Yeah.
This has happened over like the last literally 24 months.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get just more and more.
Yeah.
So exciting. Well, Gerry, thank you so much. To all our listeners out there, we're blessed with a little bit of time with the inventor of venture staking that very well could change investing in venture capital as we know it for the future. So congratulations on just sticking at it, right? Just staying at it one step at a time. Thank you very much for joining the show today, Gerry.
Appreciate it.
And until next time, we'll see y'all soon.
This episode was brought to you by Rally, the Global Cross-Sector Innovation Conference. Learn more at rallyinnovation.com.